Hey guys, how are you?
How's everybody doing? Dr. Jim?
I was going to say Dr. Jodie.
And Dr. Jodie. We are back.
Oh, Lord. I think I'm really getting an education with you, so I could have a doctorate degree by the time we're done.
Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Another compliment. Thank you so much.
It was meant for a compliment.
This is great, especially after that last episode.
Yeah.
Just growing, mending. Mending.
Building trust.
Oh, right.
Being supportive.
So I think last time, as we were ending the last episode, we had started talking about having difficult conversations, which was one that we had. We kind of wanted to just really focus on that. Mm-hmm. So some people have been writing in and talking about that exactly and how that shows up in their life and how they have a difficult conversation. So
all right.
Let's go on with that.
All right.
Have you had any of those lately?
Besides with you?
Yeah. How do you handle those? Number one, like, what's your, like, I guess, when do you know that it's going to be a difficult conversation?
You feel it in your gut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you first approach that? Like, what, like, mentally in your space? So you, because I've had to have a couple of these recently, really recently, like as in every day this past week, with some loved ones of mine, my team. I love you. You're listening. But they've been difficult. Mm-hmm. So how have you, like, what's your mindset first? Like, when you know, like, things are starting to build up and you kind of, like, with us, for example, right? It's like one little thing and it's kind of, oh, that's not, it's just one thing, kind of annoying, and now all of a sudden it's like, we have to talk. Mm-hmm. God, those words. We need to talk. The 4 worst words in a relationship that you can hear, right?
It's not you, it's me.
We need to talk. Damn it. This isn't going to be good. But so what's your mindset leading into that? Like, breaking that down, like, okay, we have to do this. Like, how do you prepare yourself?
I sit back and I watch. Because people have patterns in their life. They really do. So sometimes people are going through things and you don't know about it, but if you really sit back and watch, people have patterns. And if they've been in your life for a long time, you can kind of see where they stray out. But if they haven't been in your life a long time, you kind of got to sit back and just see. And then you can ask questions. That's where it starts. I know that we have this conversation all the time because I ask a lot of questions. But then you can see where the breakdown starts and where the miscommunication comes in also, which I really think that that's huge with people, is they don't really communicate enough. But then when you sit down, like, let's have this conversation, and I think we talked about it before, is a sandwich effect. Like, I love you, but I'm not putting up with your shit.
Right.
Basically, is what it comes down to. But you have to say it, and then, like, this is how I'm feeling, whether you're making, or I'm not even making, someone can't make you do anything unless you choose to do that. Right. But I'm not sure if this is what you meant, but this is how I'm taking it. This is how I'm feeling from it, and if this is good for us, great. If it's no longer a fit, I still love you, but we gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's even harder. I find, like, my personal relationships, those are a little easier to manage, honestly. It's your business relationship, because, like we talked on the last episode, that's your livelihood.
Yeah.
It is. So not only so you're creating something together, plus it's your livelihood, plus you have your own free will and they have their own free will, and then you have this mission, and sometimes you're called to do something and not everybody sees what you're called to do.
Yeah.
And then everybody has their different ideas. So you just...
Yeah, I think that goes back to seeking to understand, not be understood. Mm-hmm. Right? So then that way you have a foundation. This is what I've recently learned having these conversations, which has been a lot of growth for me, is I found myself, like, so angry, mm-hmm. right? Because I just couldn't understand, like, where this is coming from. Mm-hmm. So for me, I've had to, like, just, number one, I need space. Mm-hmm. So that way I don't respond or react.
Or when
like, just knee-jerk react, like, pow!
Or when someone calls and says, please talk to me, please answer me, don't answer me. Just stay away for a few days. Just stay away. Throw the phone across the room. I'm never speaking to you again. But
oh man, but yeah, having those.
Yeah,
but like just taking the space, or what I did and then see what you think about this. So I
Does
had
it
to
matter
remove
what I think?
myself. It does. Wow, look at that. This is me seeking to understand and asking questions. All new this past week. Like, it's really opened me up to really come from a space of love, I think, having these conversations. Because in the beginning, I was holding like so much, it built up so much where I was starting to resent the individual. And then when I started resenting the individual, then I started not only showing up differently and like very short-tempered, angry, and then probably most of all, looking for what's wrong and waiting for them to screw up. So now all of a sudden it's like...
that's what you're attracting.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I'm going through my day and I'm just waiting for that person to show up or not show up and do something wrong so then I could make myself right. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's not who I am. That's not what I want to be. Uh-huh. And now, like, then it throws me out of my pattern too. Like, I noticed that, like, my daily routine, like, kind of started shifting. I wasn't doing things. I was like, and I was like, what's going on here? So I had to remove myself, number one. And then just really look at, like, okay, I can continue to make this person wrong. Mm-hmm. Or I really need to show up and, like, love them so much to, like, where is this coming from? Where is this breakdown coming from? And, you know, really find out just where they're at. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, that really opened, I think, the door. But then when you're able to see where they're at, then you can reassess your values and really find out, you know, is that person there to support you or what's their agenda? Yeah. Sometimes you can find out through that when you're really asking, are they really on your team or are they not on your team? Mm-hmm. And then, you know, then you can choose to continue to move on or if it's time to separate ways.
With that too, with patterns, you know, again, before you react to something, watch people and ask them some questions and then ask the same question again in a different setting or a different way and see if the answer is the same, you know, because then really, where are their values, you know?
Right.
Something that, to go along with that relationship that you were talking about and the difficult conversations is really getting in with yourself and have a difficult conversation with yourself as to where I'm showing up in this. Like, I have a blessed life, you guys. I do, and I'm not saying that I don't have struggles because I do, but I was mad at you. I was upset with some other people, but I was really mad at you because we're creating something. But that's another thing. But I was out of alignment, and so I'm asking all these things in my life, and then all of a sudden I'm like, they're not showing up, and I'm not used to being able to manifest things and you know, prayer that fast. So it was kind of crazy. Friday night, I was asked to all expense paid, 8 days, go sailing Virgin Islands. We're sitting out at, you know, me and my friends are sitting there, and he asked, and all my friends at the table were like, "You're not going to say yes right now?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because something's not in alignment. Like, I know it would be a beautiful trip, and thank you, and I think he was doing dreamy. I'd like you to. I just want to hear your laugh in the middle of the ocean." And I was like, this would be a really cool opportunity, but something wasn't setting right. And I just felt like inside of me, like something like career-wise or whatever. So guys, pray. You know, just seriously pray and meditate on it. So Wednesday, and I think I sent you a message Monday. And I said, I just go, Lord told me I need to be nice and loving to you, and He'll take care of the rest. And then it was just like, boom, our relationship just shifted almost back to where it was, like the consistency and showing up and stuff. And Jim always hangs up the phone and says, "I love you." And you didn't that day. And I was like, not that I'll ever tell you I love you again, but you didn't say I love you.
It is. It's amazing. And, you know, every reading that I've done this week with, like, through prayer or, you know, Bible verses and everything, everything's been showing up like love. It's been like love, 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 love. And I'm like, oh.
Did you get that?
Is that what's missing?
Did you get that YouTube that I sent you about showing up?
Which one? The guy?
Yeah, it was cool. But back to that. So, you know, I have this opportunity to go sailing. Wonderful. I'll have a blast. But something wasn't setting right. And so Wednesday morning, see? It wasn't setting right.
Thank you.
So, right. My driveway is hard to back out of, but when I back out of my driveway and then I drive down my highway or my driveway, because to me mentally it's a new day, and I'm going to drive forward and see what's ahead of me rather than backing up. And if I back up here in the city, I back into my parking spot, because when I pull out, I want to see what's ahead of me rather than having to look in my rearview mirror. That's just something that I do for myself. So Wednesday morning, I was meditating, I was praying, and I pulled out of the driveway, and I was like, God, just give me a sign. Like, I know it's a great opportunity, and I could go, but I just feel like I need to do something for my career. Remember, I was like, I got so much to tell you.
Yeah.
So that half an hour later, I got a phone call, and I was asked to speak at the Women's Global Summit here, and it's on the day I was supposed to set sail. I can't go now, so I was like, I knew I wasn't supposed to say yes, Then about 45 minutes later, I'm talking to Pete, and he's like, listen, I want you, you're coming out here, we're taking care of this, my friend that I was just talking about. And he made it so there was no way that I could say no to coming out to his conference. So Pete Vargas, I love you. Reach Academy, freaking awesome. Thank you. I can't wait to be out there. And Pete is he's a pastor, and he's an amazing man, and he's up here with Brenda Bouchard's and Ray Forleo's and all of those, and Bo Easton, those are his pals, and he's like, I want you on my team. And I'm like, okay, again, I would be traveling, so couldn't go. And then one of my producer friends, he's like, hey, let's have coffee Friday, and you guys all know I love the behind the scenes stuff and music. And I was like, can I record you for my podcast? And he's like, yeah, just bring all your stuff over. And I'm like, really? So I stopped being angry, is what it was. And it's in your hands, I'm putting myself back in alignment. So sometimes with those relationships and those difficult conversations is if you pull yourself back and come from a space of love and really loving yourself. Yeah. Because again, the self-reflection was, I knew I was mad. And I was like, this isn't cool, So you gotta recheck. Check out if you need to check out for a couple days, and then recheck, and then come from a place of love to say where you need to go.
Love the world, and it will love you back, right? Just got to reach out and give it a hug sometimes.
Right. Don't hug me right now. I'm kidding.
No, but I think you brought up a really good point when you say step back. And a friend of mine was been there. He's been kind of coaching me through this as well. And one thing that he noticed was, and he goes, when's the last time you recharged? Like, when did you recharge? He's like, he goes, you have so many things going, and you pull it all these directions, and he goes, and you love so much. Mm-hmm. He goes, but I've seen you like doing things, and Sunday's usually my day. Like, that's my recharge day. Mm-hmm. Literally I go to church, order some food, and then I'll do whatever. If it's just like, that would be like my movie day or reading day, whatever it is. I usually just like lock myself in my house, and like I just do not communicate. Like, I just sit there with myself. And I was like, man, I think it was probably like 3 or 4 weeks that I didn't do that. Right. So everything was just continuing to build up, and where I couldn't take it. And then I was like, I was just feeling like this such anxiety on the inside.
And we talked about that a couple, like maybe one or the very first or second episode about refueling your own soul. Right. Yeah. So I noticed practice what you preach.
And I wasn't doing that the past few weeks. So then all of a sudden it's showing up that way. So, I'd like to hear from everybody, like, what it is that you guys do to recharge yourself, and if you don't, like, what does that look like for you to show up every day, and what is necessary for you, and what is it that you want to be able to show up? So what does that look like to recharge? Like, what's going to reset your soul? What's going to reset your mind, and physically be able to show up for whoever it is, for your job, for your family, and when is that? So I'd love to hear from you guys on what it is that that does recharge you, when you're going to recharge, and how that shows up. So if you guys can, and if you don't do it, it's a great opportunity to look at whatever that is that you would like to do, that just makes your soul happy, that gives you the fuel and the energy to carry on through your week. So I'd love some feedback on what it is that you guys do, because I love learning as well. So if you guys got anything out there, I just want to hear what that is. And then if you're not doing it, like, be able to implement that over the next 30 days. Like, even if it's just one thing a day, one thing a week, whatever it is, just set the time, and then I want to know how that shows up, for you guys.
And I want to add on to that is because I think that we're so in our heads sometimes of, okay, we're going to do this, and I want you to look at your life through the eyes of a child for the next 30 days. Like, everything is new and it's amazing, and you'll find, like, see a butterfly and stare at the butterfly and just watch it. Hold your chest up and look around and be curious, and you're really going to find a whole lot of love. And put your phones away.
Yeah, so let's I want to hear. I'm looking forward to it. So
All
thank
right.
you guys.
Thanks.
You guys have a great day.
Bye.